Dating in the modern world often feels like a relentless storm of confusion. You craft the perfect message only to be met with silence. You analyze every text for hidden meaning. The endless swiping can leave you feeling more disconnected than ever. But what if an ancient philosophy held the key to finding your footing in this chaos? Stoicism, practiced by Roman emperors and slaves alike, offers 25 surprisingly practical answers to the very modern problem of dating anxiety. By the end of this, you will have a complete toolkit to navigate romance with profound clarity and unshakable inner peace. We will uncover how loving your fate can transform rejection and why your most valuable asset has nothing to do with your profile pictures. What is the one dating struggle you wish you could face with more calm? The relentless search for a perfect match often leaves us feeling powerless, but the first and most profound Stoic answer cuts directly to the heart of this anxiety by drawing a simple, powerful line. It is the dichotomy of control. This ancient idea teaches us to rigorously separate everything in our lives into two categories: what is within our power and what is not. In the turbulent world of dating, this single distinction is a life raft. You have complete control over your own profile. You decide the photos you select, the words you write, and the honesty you project. You control the effort you put forth, showing up for a date with genuine interest and respect. You command your communication, choosing to be clear, kind, and authentic in your messages. And most importantly, you govern your own reactions to whatever happens next. But on the other side of that line lies everything you cannot command. You cannot control who swipes right or left on you. You have no power over how quickly someone replies to your text or if they reply at all. You cannot dictate another person's feelings, their attraction, their past baggage, or their decision to commit. Trying to control these external outcomes is like trying to command the ocean's tides with your bare hands. It is a recipe for exhaustion and despair. When you stop pouring your energy into the unchangeable, a remarkable shift occurs. The frustration that comes from a silent inbox or a cancelled date begins to lose its grip. Your power is redirected inward, fueling the only thing that truly matters: your own character and actions. You become the calm, intentional person at the center of the dating storm, not a leaf blown about by every gust of wind. This is not about giving up. It is about focusing your strength where it will actually make a difference. That need for control often clashes with the unpredictable reality of dating, leaving us bitter when things do not go our way. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this bitterness, a concept that sounds almost radical: amor fati, a love of one's fate. This is not about passive resignation where you simply shrug and say, "Well, I guess that is how it was meant to be." It is an active, vibrant embrace of every single event, especially the painful ones. Think of the last time you were ghosted. The initial sting is real, a sharp pang of confusion and rejection. The standard reaction is to spiral, to obsess over what you did wrong, to craft angry messages you will never send. But amor fati asks a different question. What if this silence is not a failure, but a necessary redirection? What if this person's exit from your life is making space for someone who truly aligns with your values? Loving your fate means looking directly at that disappointment and saying, "This too is for my benefit." It is the raw material for your growth. A date that feels awkward or goes nowhere is not a waste of an evening. It is a lesson in communication, a chance to practice your social skills, a clear signal about what you do not want, which is just as valuable as knowing what you do want. Every mismatch is a step closer to a true match. This mindset transforms you from a victim of circumstance into the architect of your own resilience. You stop seeing rejection as a verdict on your worth and start seeing it as a course correction. The universe is not punishing you, it is guiding you, often away from connections that would ultimately bring you pain. Amor fati is the practice of trusting that guidance even when it feels like a setback. It is the quiet confidence that every experience, every closed door, is weaving itself into the fabric of a life well lived, a life you can love in its entirety. That love for your fate requires a clear lens to see it through, a way to process the world without being swept away by every wave of emotion. This brings us to the third Stoic answer, a tool for mental clarity that is more vital now than ever. It is the crucial difference between an impression and your judgment of it. The Stoics taught that it is not events themselves that disturb us, but our interpretations of those events. An impression is the raw data, the initial sight or sound. Your judgment is the story you instantly tell yourself about what that data means. In modern dating, your phone is a constant source of these raw impressions. A notification pops up, that is the impression. The judgment is the immediate voice in your head. He took 12 hours to reply. He must be losing interest. Or you see a new match on an app. The impression is their profile picture. The judgment is, she looks so sophisticated, she would never be into someone like me. These judgments are not facts, they are stories, and often they are stories of anxiety and fear. The power lies in the pause, the moment you intercept that automatic judgment and question it. Instead of spiraling when a text goes unanswered, you can pause and consider other narratives. Perhaps they are in a meeting, maybe their phone died. It is possible they are simply thinking about how best to reply. By refusing to attach a catastrophic judgment to the impression, you reclaim your peace. This applies intensely to first dates. Your date glances at their phone. The impression is the glance. The anxious judgment is, I am boring them, this is going terribly. A Stoic response is to note the impression without the added narrative. They looked at their phone, that is all. It does not have to define your entire evening or your self-worth. This practice is not about suppressing emotion, but about creating space between the trigger and your reaction. In that space, you find your freedom. You choose the story you will believe, and you choose one that serves your tranquility. When you stop judging every silence as rejection and every glance as disinterest, you begin to experience dating with a lighter heart and a clearer mind. Your judgments shape your reality, but what is the foundation upon which those judgments stand? The Stoics argued that the only true good is an excellent character, a life lived in accordance with virtue. This is the fourth answer, a compass for navigating the murky waters of modern dating. Forget algorithms and pickup lines for a moment. The most attractive quality you can cultivate is your own moral character, built on the four cardinal virtues. Wisdom, or practical knowledge, guides you to be radically honest in your profile and conversations. It is the wisdom to know that presenting a false version of yourself to get a date will only lead to a relationship built on sand. It means you state your intentions clearly, whether you seek a serious connection or something more casual, saving everyone time and heartache. Then there is courage, the strength to face emotional risk. In dating, courage is the force that pushes you to send that first message, to ask for the phone number, to initiate a real conversation beyond superficial small talk. It is the bravery required to be vulnerable, to share a part of your true self, knowing that rejection is a possibility, but that living inauthentically is a far greater loss. Justice, in the Stoic sense, is about our duty to treat other people with fairness, kindness, and respect. On a date, this means being fully present, listening more than you speak, and honoring the human being across the table. It is the refusal to ghost someone, to breadcrumb them with intermittent attention, or to use them for validation. You treat them as you would wish to be treated, recognizing their inherent dignity regardless of romantic outcome. Finally, temperance is the virtue of moderation and self-control. It governs our desires and impulses. In a world of instant gratification, temperance is what allows you to manage the longing for constant validation from matches and likes. It is the discipline to not overindulge in texting, to set healthy boundaries, and to walk away from an intense but ultimately unhealthy connection. Together, these four virtues form a complete dating philosophy. When you act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, you are no longer anxiously reacting to every swipe and message. You are proactively building a life of character, and in doing so, you become a beacon for those who value the same. You stop asking, "Will they like me?" and start living by a far more powerful question: "Am I acting in a way that I can respect?" Living by these virtues transforms abstract ideals into daily actions, especially when navigating the intense emotions of new connections. Take the modern phenomenon of love bombing, for instance. This is when someone showers you with excessive affection and grand promises right from the start. Wisdom is your defense. It recognizes that genuine connection builds slowly, like a sturdy bridge, not a firework that explodes and fades. Wisdom questions the rush, understanding that such intensity can be a red flag for control or insecurity, and it empowers you to step back and observe the person's character over time. This is where courage must partner with wisdom. It takes immense courage to set a firm boundary when someone is overwhelming you with attention. Saying, "I really appreciate our connection, but I prefer to take things a bit slower," is an act of profound strength. It protects your emotional space and filters for people who respect your pace. Justice then guides how you communicate your own intentions. It is unjust to lead someone on when you know your own goals do not align with theirs. A just person finds the clarity to say, "I am looking for a serious relationship," or "I am only available for something casual right now." This honesty, however difficult, is the ultimate form of respect. It saves both of you from the confusion and pain of mismatched expectations. And underpinning it all is temperance, the self-control that keeps you from over-investing emotionally before true trust is built. Temperance is the inner voice that cautions you not to plan your future together after 3 perfect dates. It is the discipline that keeps you from abandoning your friends, your hobbies, and your peace for the thrilling uncertainty of a new person. This balanced approach does not make you cold or calculating. It makes you a fortress of self-respect. You are no longer swept away by every intense current, but instead you choose deliberately which connections are worthy of your anchor. Your fortress of self-respect is built upon seeing yourself clearly, but the Stoics insist we must extend that same clarity to the person sitting across from us. The fifth Stoic answer is a profound shift in perspective, to see others not as means to an end, but as human beings just like you. In the swipe-right culture of modern dating, it is frighteningly easy to reduce people to profiles, to a collection of photos and witty bios that exist for our consumption and judgment. We objectify them, turning living, breathing individuals into instruments for our validation, entertainment, or temporary comfort. Stoicism directly challenges this. It asks us to actively recognize the shared humanity in everyone we meet. Before your next date, pause for a moment and consider the person you are about to see. They are not merely a potential partner. They have a full and complex life that you know almost nothing about. They have experienced joy and profound loss. They wake up with worries and go to sleep with hopes. They have struggled, they have failed, they have triumphed. They crave connection and fear rejection just as you do. This simple mental exercise, seeing the whole person, dismantles entitlement. When you view someone as a human being, you cannot feel entitled to their time, their affection, or their body. You understand that their yes or no is a reflection of their own complex inner world, their own history and desires, not a final grade on your value. This mindset is a powerful antidote to the bitterness that follows a rejection. Instead of thinking, "How could they not want me?" you can think, "Our paths and needs simply did not align at this time." It allows you to part ways with genuine goodwill, wishing them well on their journey because you see them as a fellow traveler, not an obstacle or a prize. This practice also transforms the quality of your connections. When you enter a conversation truly curious about the other person's humanity, the dynamic shifts from an interview to an exploration. You listen to understand, not just to reply. You ask questions that go deeper than their job or hobbies. You might discover their resilience, their insecurities, their dreams. In doing so, you create a space where genuine connection can flourish, a space where two complete individuals can meet, not two avatars performing for each other. This is how you find the real thing. A quiet dread often accompanies the hope before a first date. You worry about awkward silences, a lack of chemistry, or the sting of being ghosted afterward. The sixth Stoic answer transforms this anxiety into a source of profound strength through a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is not about cultivating a pessimistic outlook or expecting the worst to happen. It is a mental rehearsal, a deliberate exercise in envisioning potential challenges to strip them of their power to shock and destabilize you. Imagine the night before a date. You sit quietly and consciously picture it going poorly. You visualize the conversation feeling forced and stilted. You see yourself checking your phone afterward and finding no follow-up message. You mentally walk through the experience of being ghosted. At first, this feels counterintuitive, even uncomfortable. Why would you do this to yourself? The Stoic purpose is twofold. First, by confronting these possibilities head-on, you drain them of their terror. The ghosting, the rejection, the awkward date, they are no longer unknown monsters lurking in the dark. You have already met them in your mind and seen that you can survive them. Your heart will keep beating. Your character will remain intact. You will be okay. This realization dramatically reduces the anxiety you carry into the date itself. You are no longer gripped by a desperate need for it to go perfectly because you have already made peace with the alternative. The second, more beautiful outcome of this practice is a deep appreciation for the good moments when they do arrive. When you have mentally prepared for silence, a simple, kind text the next day feels like a genuine gift. When you have envisioned a cold, disconnected evening, a warm, flowing conversation becomes a moment of pure, unanticipated joy. Premeditatio malorum does not sour the wine of life, it sweetens it. It teaches you to hold every positive outcome lightly, with gratitude, not with a white-knuckled grip of entitlement. You stop seeing a successful date as something you are owed and start seeing it as a welcome bonus. This shift is liberating. You walk into the coffee shop or the restaurant not with the weight of your entire romantic future on your shoulders, but with the calm confidence of someone who has already faced their fears and found themselves still standing. You are free to be fully present, to listen, to connect without the constant background noise of what if this fails. You have already visited that reality, and you know it is not the end of your story. This mental preparation builds a resilience that no single dating outcome can ever break. Resilience is forged in that quiet space of preparation, but what are you actually protecting? The seventh Stoic answer points to your most valuable and lasting asset in the chaotic world of dating, your own character. In an arena that constantly measures you by external metrics, likes, matches, second dates, the Stoics offer a radical alternative. Your worth is not determined by the number of notifications on your screen. It is built upon the unshakable foundation of your integrity, your kindness, and your commitment to living virtuously. Think of your character as your inner fortress. Every time you choose to be honest in your profile instead of crafting a persona you think will be popular, you are reinforcing the walls. Every time you treat a date with respect, even when you feel no romantic spark, you are strengthening the foundation. Every time you walk away from a situation that compromises your values, you are fortifying the gates. The outside world, with its constant swiping and judging, cannot touch what is inside that fortress. When your sense of self is anchored here, the inevitable rejections and silences of modern dating become mere weather outside your walls. They might be inconvenient, even disappointing, but they cannot devastate you because they do not define you. You know your value is not up for a vote. This inner stability becomes magnetic. People are drawn, often unconsciously, to those who possess a quiet self-assurance. When you're not desperately seeking validation from every interaction, you project a different energy. You listen more intently because you are not just waiting for your turn to impress. You speak more authentically because you are not filtering every word through a lens of what you think they want to hear. You become a person of substance in a world of superficial noise. This does not mean you will attract everyone, and that is the entire point. You will naturally repel those who are looking for a game or a temporary ego boost. But you will become a beacon for those who value depth, honesty, and genuine connection. The right people are not attracted to a perfect facade, they are drawn to a solid core. By focusing relentlessly on building your character, you stop chasing connections and start embodying the very qualities that make a connection last. You become the calm, trustworthy person you yourself would want to find. This relentless focus on your inner character frees you from a hidden trap that sabotages countless dates, the desperate need for a specific outcome. The eighth Stoic answer is to practice a deliberate detachment from results. This is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about shifting your entire focus from what you hope to get to the quality of what you are giving in the present moment. The Stoics called this acting with right intention. Your job is not to secure a second date or lock in a relationship. Your only true task is to show up as your best self, to be genuinely curious about the person in front of you, and to act with kindness and integrity throughout the encounter. Think of it like tending a garden. You cannot command the seeds to sprout. You cannot force the sun to shine or the rain to fall. All you can do is prepare the soil, plant the seeds with care, and water them consistently. Your intention is the act of gardening itself. The outcome, whether the flowers bloom, is not in your hands. Apply this to a date. You walk in with the intention to have a pleasant conversation and to learn something new about another human being. That is your garden. You are there to tend to the interaction itself. The outcome, whether they want to see you again, is the weather. It is external. When your goal is simply to connect authentically for 1 hour, the crushing pressure to perform evaporates. You are no longer mentally scripting your next witty remark to impress them. You are not anxiously scanning for signs of their approval. You are free to actually be in the experience, to listen, to laugh, and to discover if there is a real spark without the distortion of neediness. This detachment makes you more attractive because it signals self-contained confidence. You are not there to extract validation. You are there to share a moment. When the date ends, you can part ways with a clear conscience, knowing you fulfilled your only true responsibility. You showed up and you were authentically you. Whatever happens next is simply part of the landscape, not a measure of your success. Rejection does not have to be a dead end. It can be the very path forward, a principle the Stoics captured in 3 powerful words: the obstacle is the way. Every single dating hurdle you face, from the silent ghosting to the painfully awkward conversation, is not a sign that you are failing. It is raw material for your growth, a training ground designed to build a more resilient and self-aware you. Think of a rejection not as a verdict on your worth, but as a practical lesson. What did it reveal? Perhaps it highlighted a mismatch in values you had not considered. Maybe it taught you the importance of clearer communication from the very beginning. Each no is a piece of data helping you refine what a true yes would actually look and feel like. Even an awkward date is a gift in disguise. That stilted silence in the middle of dinner is not a disaster. It is an invitation to practice presence. Can you sit in that discomfort without panicking? Can you steer the conversation toward calmer waters with a simple, genuine question? These moments are not about impressing the other person. They are about building your own social courage and composure, one uncomfortable minute at a time. And mismatches are perhaps the most valuable teachers of all. That person who was charming but emotionally unavailable, or the one who shared your hobbies but not your life goals, they are not mistakes. They are living, breathing clarifiers. They are showing you with absolute clarity what you do not want, and knowing what you do not want is the most direct route to discovering what you do. When you start to see every obstacle as the way itself, your entire perspective on dating transforms. You stop avoiding the difficult moments and start leaning into them, curious about what strength they might help you forge. You begin to collect rejections and awkward silences not as wounds, but as badges of honor, proof that you are in the arena, actively shaping your character and your future. That inner fortress of character is not built on shifting sand, but on the bedrock of your own rational nature. The 10th Stoic answer calls us to live according to nature, a phrase that sounds abstract but holds intensely practical wisdom for our romantic lives. For a human being, our nature is not wild instinct, it is reason. We are gifted with the capacity for logic, foresight, and thoughtful choice. To live against this nature is to be ruled by the storms of raw emotion and fleeting impulse. In dating, this means pausing when loneliness screams at you to swipe mindlessly for hours. It is the rational voice that reminds you that a real connection cannot be found in a numbing scroll. It is the choice to close the app and call a friend instead, honoring your need for genuine human contact over a digital phantom. When you feel the sharp pull of lust, reason does not tell you to ignore it, but to question it. Is this attraction leading me toward a person I genuinely respect and admire? Or is it merely a physical impulse that could cloud my judgment and lead me into a situation that compromises my values? Living according to nature means using your reason as the captain of your ship, not letting the winds of passion or desperation blow you off course. This applies directly to who you choose to date. Reason asks you to look beyond a charming smile or a clever bio and consider deeper compatibility. Do your core values align? Do they treat others with kindness? Are their life goals and communication styles something you can build with? This is not a cold, clinical checklist, but a thoughtful process of discernment, ensuring you are investing your precious time and heart in someone who is truly a good fit for the person you are. And within a relationship, this principle guides your behavior. When a conflict arises, your natural impulse might be to lash out in anger or retreat in cold silence. But your rational nature gives you a better way. It allows you to take a breath, to separate the facts of the situation from the story your emotions are telling, and to choose a response rooted in understanding rather than reaction. You become a partner who builds bridges with words, not one who burns them with unchecked feelings. This is the profound dignity of living according to your nature. You are no longer a puppet tugged by every emotional string, but a conscious architect of your romantic life, making one thoughtful, reasoned choice at a time. Yet that reasoned perspective can sometimes feel distant when you are staring at a silent phone. The 11th Stoic answer offers a powerful mental exercise to reclaim that distance, a practice known as the view from above. Imagine pulling the camera of your mind back, far back, until you are no longer just in your room, but looking down at your city, then your country, then the entire spinning earth, a tiny blue marble in the vast, silent expanse of the cosmos. From this vantage point, your dating life, with all its urgent anxieties and sharp disappointments, is placed in its true context. The unanswered text that felt like a catastrophe now appears as a single, fleeting pixel on a vast screen. The awkward first date that consumed your thoughts for days becomes a brief, insignificant moment in the grand tapestry of human existence. This is not meant to diminish your experiences, but to expand your perspective. Your longing for connection is real and valid, but it does not have to be the center of the entire universe. When you feel the heat of embarrassment after saying something clumsy, practice the view from above. See yourself as a small, brave figure on a planet shared by billions, all of us navigating the same fundamental human needs. That specific person's reaction, or lack thereof, loses its power to define your entire emotional state. It becomes one small data point in a much larger journey. This exercise is a direct antidote to the self-absorption that modern dating often breeds. We can become so fixated on our own profile's performance, our own message response rates, that we forget we are part of a colossal, humming world. The view from above reconnects you to that world. It reminds you that life is happening all around you, full of beauty and wonder, completely unrelated to your romantic pursuits. It invites you to take a deep breath and remember that your worth was never and will never be contained within a single match or a single date. You are a tiny, miraculous part of something infinitely greater, and from that cosmic vantage point, you can afford to be a little gentler with yourself, to not sweat the small stuff, and to carry on with a quiet, unshakable equanimity. The vast cosmic perspective brings a sense of peace, but what do you do with that peace right here on the ground? Stoicism's 12th answer is to fill that quiet space with a powerful and deliberate practice: gratitude for the present moment. This is not about plastering a fake smile over disappointment. It is a radical act of reframing, a conscious choice to shift your focus from what is missing to the genuine abundance that already exists within your dating life. Start with the simple act of getting ready for a date. Instead of fretting over whether you will like them or they will like you, pause and feel a sense of thanks for the opportunity itself. You are about to share a conversation with a new human being, to learn about a life entirely different from your own. That is a small miracle, a chance for connection that millions of people would cherish. Even if the date leads nowhere romantically, you can still be grateful for the practice of being present, for the story you will have, for the reminder of your own capacity for social courage. This mindset extends to your past. Every relationship that ended, every heartbreak you endured, was not a failure. It was a teacher. Be grateful for the painful lesson that showed you the importance of emotional availability. Be thankful for the person who taught you, through their absence, what commitment truly means to you. Those experiences carved the depth of your character and sharpened your understanding of what you truly need. They were not wasted time, they were essential preparation. And perhaps the most challenging, yet liberating, application is finding gratitude for the freedom of being single. Society often paints this as a state of lack, a waiting room for the main event. But Stoicism asks you to see it as a period of rich potential. You have the freedom to invest wholly in yourself, to explore your interests without compromise, to build a life so full and satisfying on its own that any future partner will be a wonderful addition, not a necessary completion. When you stop seeing your singlehood as a problem to be solved and start appreciating it as a gift to be utilized, the desperate energy vanishes from your search. You approach dating from a place of abundance, not deficit. You are not there to complete yourself, but to share your already complete world with someone. This grateful heart becomes your most attractive feature, radiating a contentment that no perfectly curated profile can ever fake. That deep sense of gratitude for the present moment creates a stable platform from which to observe a powerful internal force, the relentless pull of your own desires. Stoicism's 13th answer is to manage these desires and their counterpart, your aversions. This is not about eliminating what you want or what you wish to avoid, but about bringing them into the clear light of reason for examination. Your desire might be for a specific person's approval, that intense longing to receive a text back from them, to hear them say they had a good time, to feel chosen. Your aversion is likely the fear of its opposite, the dread of being alone, of facing another silent evening, of watching friends pair off while you remain by yourself. Left unchecked, these impulses become tyrants. They will push you to double text out of anxiety, to ignore red flags because the thought of being alone feels worse, to contort yourself into someone you are not just to secure a sliver of external validation. The Stoic practice is to pause the moment you feel that desperate pull. Ask yourself, is this desire for that specific person's approval a rational one? Is this person, whom I barely know, truly a reliable source of my happiness and self-worth? Is my craving for their attention leading me toward a healthy connection, or is it merely soothing a deeper fear? By questioning the desire itself, you loosen its grip. You realize you are not yearning for the person, but for the feeling of security and acceptance you have projected onto them. The same scrutiny applies to your aversion. You fear being alone, but what does being alone actually mean in this moment? It means you have the quiet space to read a book you love, to develop a skill, to connect deeply with friends, to build a life so rich that a partner becomes a welcome complement, not a missing piece. When you examine the monster of loneliness, you often find it is just a shadow, a story you are telling yourself about an incomplete life. The goal is moderation, not extinction. It is perfectly natural to desire connection and to prefer companionship over solitude. The Stoic aims to ensure these preferences do not escalate into desperate needs that override their wisdom and self-respect. This balanced approach leads to profoundly different decisions. Instead of anxiously waiting for a reply, you send your message and then close the app, trusting that a response from a secure person will come in its own time. Instead of clinging to a situationship that makes you feel insecure, you find the courage to walk away, not because you are fearless, but because your aversion to self-betrayal has become stronger than your aversion to being alone. You start making choices from a place of rational clarity, not emotional hunger, and in that clear space you become capable of recognizing a genuine connection because you are no longer seeing potential partners through a frantic, needy haze. Your words are a direct reflection of your inner state. In a world of constant digital chatter, the 14th Stoic answer offers a quiet revolution in how we connect, speak little and well. This principle is not about being shy or withholding, but about the immense power of intentional silence and purposeful speech. On a date, the temptation is to fill every quiet moment, to sell yourself, to list your accomplishments and funny anecdotes. But the Stoic understands that true connection is not built on a monologue. It is forged in the space between words, in the quality of your listening. Active listening means you are not just waiting for your turn to talk. You are fully present, absorbing not only their words but the emotion behind them. Your body is turned toward them, your phone is away and forgotten. You are listening to understand their world, not just to craft your next clever reply. This level of attention is a rare and profound gift. It communicates respect and genuine interest more powerfully than any boast ever could. When you do speak, your words carry weight because they are thoughtful. Instead of gossiping about mutual acquaintances or diving into heavy emotional baggage on a first meeting, you ask questions that invite depth. You might say, "What is something you are genuinely curious about learning?" Or, "Tell me about a time you felt truly proud of yourself." These questions shift the conversation from the transactional to the meaningful. They uncover values and character, the very foundations of a lasting bond. Oversharing too soon is often a sign of anxiety, a desperate attempt to fast-track intimacy. The Stoic virtue of self-control guides you to reveal yourself gradually as trust is earned. This measured approach builds mystery and shows you have a rich, full life beyond this single interaction. You are not an open book begging to be read. You are a compelling story that unfolds one thoughtful chapter at a time. Speaking little and well is the ultimate demonstration of confidence. You are so secure in your own value that you do not need to constantly prove it with words. You create an atmosphere where the other person feels heard, seen, and valued, and in that quiet, respectful space, something authentic has the room to grow. The very ground beneath our feet is in constant motion, a truth we conveniently forget when we promise forever. Stoicism's 15th answer asks us to remember this fundamental law of the universe, to accept the impermanence of all things. This is not a pessimistic surrender to loss, but a profound shift that allows you to love more deeply and part more gracefully. Every single connection you form, from a brief summer romance to a decades-long marriage, has a beginning, a middle, and a natural end. Its duration is not a measure of its value. A relationship that lasts for 3 months can teach you as much about yourself as one that lasts for 3 years if you are willing to learn. When you internalize this truth, you stop clinging. You begin to appreciate each moment with a person not as a stepping stone to some guaranteed future, but as a complete and precious experience in itself. That simple coffee date becomes sweeter because you are not mentally fast-forwarding to a wedding. You are truly there, tasting the coffee, hearing the inflection in their voice, noticing the way their eyes light up when they talk about their passion. You cherish the Tuesday night dinner not because it proves you are in a stable relationship, but for the simple joy of sharing a meal and a conversation. This mindset transforms your entire approach. You stop trying to possess the other person, to lock them into a static version of who they are today. You allow them the freedom to grow and change, just as you grant that same freedom to yourself. And when the end does come, as all things must end, you are not utterly devastated. The pain of a breakup is real, a deep and aching grief. But it is not compounded by the shock of betrayal, by the screaming sense that this was not supposed to happen. You knew on some level that every story has a final chapter. This acceptance allows you to honor what was beautiful, to learn from what was difficult, and to release the person with a genuine wish for their well-being. You can look back and feel gratitude for the chapter you shared, rather than bitterness that the book is closed. The relationship was a river you traveled together for a time, and now the currents have simply diverged. This is the ultimate grace, to hold love lightly in an open hand, appreciating its warmth while it lasts and letting it go with peace when it is time. A date arrives 10 minutes late, offering a breezy apology before diving into the menu. Your immediate instinct is to judge them, to label them as disrespectful or disorganized. But the 16th Stoic answer asks you to turn that critical gaze completely inward. This is the discipline of judging yourself, not others. Every single social interaction, especially a date, is a mirror held up to your own character. Instead of dissecting their lateness, the Stoic question is, how did I react to it? Did I sit there fuming, building a case against them in my mind, allowing my peace to be stolen by a circumstance outside my control? Or did I use those 10 minutes to center myself, to observe the room, to practice patience? Their action is their own, but your reaction is your classroom. The same principle applies when a conversation feels shallow. It is easy to conclude that your date is boring or lacking depth, but look into the mirror. Are you asking questions that invite depth, or are you staying on the safe surface of topics yourself? Are you truly listening, or are you just performing? The quality of an interaction often reveals more about your own communication skills than it does about the other person's character. This is not about self-blame, but about self-awareness. When you feel a flash of irritation because they check their phone, pause. That irritation is your own impression. Your judgment is the story you tell about it. This moment is an opportunity to practice the virtue of temperance, to manage your own impulsive annoyance. When they express an opinion you strongly disagree with, the test is not to judge their intelligence, but to examine your own capacity for justice. Can you disagree with grace and curiosity, honoring their right to a different perspective, or does your ego demand that you prove them wrong? Each date becomes a private workshop for your soul. You are not there to give the other person a final grade. You are there to discover your own edges, to see where your patience is thin, your courage is lacking, or your wisdom is clouded by desire. By making every encounter about your own moral progress, you transform the entire dating landscape from a court of judgment into a gymnasium for your character. You stop collecting criticisms of others and start collecting insights about yourself. And in doing so, you become the most mindful and grounded version of yourself, the very person capable of building something real. Your romantic search for one person can blind you to the community already surrounding you. Stoicism's 17th answer introduces a profound shift in identity, the concept of cosmopolitanism. You are not just a resident of your town or a citizen of your country, you are a citizen of the entire world. This expansive view reminds you that your need for connection can be fulfilled by the whole human family, not just a single soulmate. When you pour all your hope for companionship into the narrow funnel of dating, you place an impossible burden on every new match. You are asking a stranger to be your lover, your best friend, your emotional confidant, and your primary source of joy all at once. This pressure creates a desperate energy that can suffocate the early stages of a potential relationship. The Stoic antidote is to build your tribe first. Cultivate deep, meaningful friendships with people who share your values and support your growth. Invest time in your family, reconnect with old friends, and seek out new communities centered around your hobbies or passions. These connections form a resilient web of support that catches you when you stumble. When your social and emotional needs are met by a diverse circle, you approach dating from a place of wholeness, not lack. You are not seeking someone to complete you, you are looking for someone to share your already complete life. A date becomes an opportunity to see if this interesting new person fits into your vibrant world, not a frantic audition for the role of your everything. This abundance mindset is incredibly attractive. You carry yourself with the relaxed confidence of someone who knows they are loved and valued regardless of romantic outcome. You can be more authentically yourself because you are not performing for a lifeline. You can walk away from a mismatch without crumbling because your sense of belonging does not vanish with them. Your tribe is your anchor, keeping you steady through the turbulent seas of modern dating, reminding you that you are never truly alone on this journey. Your comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. The 18th Stoic answer dares you to step outside of it deliberately to practice voluntary discomfort. This ancient exercise is about periodically choosing a small hardship to prove to yourself that you are tougher than your circumstances. In the context of modern dating, this becomes a powerful tool for reclaiming your independence and clarity. One of the most direct applications is to voluntarily delete your dating apps for a set period, perhaps a month. The immediate pang of anxiety you feel at the thought confirms exactly why you need to do it. That anxiety is a signal that you have outsourced your sense of possibility to an algorithm. By taking a deliberate break, you are not giving up, you are retraining your brain to find connection and fulfillment in the real world. You redirect the energy you spent swiping into joining a local club, striking up conversations in a coffee shop, or simply enjoying your own company. You rebuild the muscle of self-sufficiency. Another form of this practice is to intentionally go on a date with someone who falls outside your usual physical type or checklist. This is not about settling, but about testing your own assumptions. You may discover that the qualities you truly value in a partner, a shared sense of humor, intellectual curiosity, unwavering kindness, have very little to do with the specific attributes you have been filtering for. This experiment shatters superficial judgments and forces you to connect on a human level, not just a visual one. It clarifies what truly matters by showing you what does not. These small acts of voluntary discomfort build a profound resilience. When you know you can be perfectly content without the apps, the sting of a bad date or a silent match loses its power. When you have proven to yourself that connection can be found in unexpected places, the pressure to find it in one specific way dissolves. You are no longer a passive consumer of romantic options, waiting for the right profile to appear. You become an active explorer of human connection, confident in your ability to navigate the world with or without a partner. This self-imposed challenge reveals that the security you were seeking in endless swiping was always inside you, waiting to be uncovered. Neediness is a poison to genuine connection, a silent plea that pushes people away. The 19th Stoic answer offers the ultimate antidote, the art of contentment. This is not a passive state of having everything you want, but an active practice of wanting everything you already have. It is the profound discovery of sufficiency within yourself. When you cultivate this inner fullness, your entire approach to dating transforms from a search for completion to an offering of your already complete self. Imagine the difference between a beggar and a king. The beggar holds out an empty cup, desperately hoping someone will fill it. Their energy is one of lack, of pleading, of quiet desperation. The king, already secure in his abundance, offers a gift from his overflowing table. His energy is one of generosity, of confidence, of calm assurance. In the realm of dating, the needy person is the beggar. They text repeatedly, seeking reassurance. They become overly accommodating, sacrificing their own preferences and boundaries just to keep the other person interested. They cling tightly, terrified of loss, because they believe this one person is the only source of the water that can quench their thirst. The content person is the king. They engage with curiosity and warmth, but they do not cling. They are genuinely interested in getting to know someone, but their happiness is not on the line. If the connection flourishes, wonderful. If it fades, they feel the loss, but their inner world remains intact. Their cup is still full. This contentment is built on a simple, life-altering realization. You are already enough, right now as you are, with all your perceived flaws and past mistakes. You possess inherent worth that no dating outcome can ever add to or subtract from. Your value is not a variable waiting to be confirmed by another person's affection. It is a constant. When you internalize this truth, you stop performing. You no longer feel the need to hide your quirks or amplify your achievements. You can be vulnerable, sharing your true thoughts and feelings, not as a tactic to gain sympathy, but as an honest expression of who you are. You can set firm boundaries, not as a test, but as a natural extension of your self-respect. You can walk away from a situationship that offers crumbs, not with bitter anger, but with a quiet understanding that you deserve a full meal. This is what it means to engage from a place of offering. You are offering your time, your attention, your authentic self. You are not needing their validation to feel whole. This shift is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are at home in their own skin, who do not demand constant reassurance. You become a harbor of calm in the chaotic sea of modern romance, a person with whom others can relax and be themselves without the pressure of being someone else's everything. Contentment is the foundation upon which healthy, interdependent love can finally be built. The deepest well of courage for authentic living is a stark reminder of life's final destination. The 20th Stoic answer is memento mori, the practice of remembering you will die. This is not a morbid fixation on the end, but a vibrant awakening to the breathtaking value of the present moment. In the context of dating, this awareness becomes a powerful catalyst for radical honesty and decisive action. When you truly internalize that your time is limited and profoundly precious, the fear of rejection begins to pale in comparison to the tragedy of a life half-lived. Think of the conversations you have rehearsed in your mind but never voiced, the interest you have felt but failed to express, the connections you have tolerated long after they stopped serving your growth. All of these are subtle ways of wasting your finite days. Memento mori cuts through that hesitation. It asks you a simple, piercing question. If you knew this was your last year or even your last month, would you really spend it pretending to be someone you are not to impress a stranger? Would you endure another evening with someone who makes you feel small, just to avoid the temporary discomfort of being alone? The answer becomes immediately clear. This remembrance gives you the courage to send that first message to someone who genuinely intrigues you, even if your palms are sweaty. It fuels the strength to say, I really enjoy our conversations and I would love to take you out sometime, because the regret of never asking feels far heavier than the sting of a no. It empowers you to end a situationship that offers vague promises instead of real commitment, because you recognize that your weeks and months are too valuable to spend waiting in the lobby of someone else's indecision. Every moment you spend in a connection that does not align with your core values is a moment stolen from your one wild and precious life. Memento mori transforms you from a passive participant in your romantic journey into its active, intentional author. You start making choices not from a place of fear, but from a place of fierce reverence for your own limited time. You become unwilling to settle for less than you deserve, not out of arrogance, but out of a deep respect for the irreplaceable gift of your existence. Success in dating is almost always defined by the outside world. It is the congratulatory comments on a social media relationship announcement, the relief in your parents' voices when you bring someone home for the holidays, the sheer number of matches you can collect like trophies. But every one of these external markers hands the keys to your happiness over to someone or something else. The 21st Stoic answer demands you take those keys back. It is time to define your own success. A Stoic defines a successful date not by whether they got a second one, but by whether they acted with virtue throughout the first. Did you approach the conversation with wisdom, choosing honesty over posturing? Did you exercise courage by being authentically you, not a curated version you thought they would prefer? Did you treat your date with justice, listening deeply and respecting their humanity? And did you practice temperance, managing your own desires and impulses to remain grounded and present? If you can answer yes, then that date was a resounding success regardless of its outcome. The silence that follows is irrelevant to your internal scorecard. This reframing is a liberation from the relentless chase. Imagine ending an evening where you felt a genuine connection, only to receive a polite text the next day saying they did not feel a romantic spark. The old definition of success would mark this as a failure, a rejection to be analyzed and mourned, but your new Stoic definition sees a victory. You connected. You were your best self. You learned more about what you value in a conversation. The other person's decision is part of their own journey, a variable you were never meant to control. Your success was in the quality of your own actions, and that is something no one can ever take from you. This applies to your entire romantic life, not just single dates. Societal pressure whispers that success is being in a committed relationship by a certain age. But what if your success is the profound peace you have cultivated while single? What if your success is the courage you have mustered to leave a relationship that was comfortable but no longer virtuous? What if your success is the simple, daily practice of treating everyone you meet with kindness and respect, regardless of romantic potential? When you define the win internally, you stop playing a game with rules you never agreed to. You are no longer a leaf tossed by the winds of other people's opinions or algorithmic whims. You become the quiet, unshakable judge of your own progress, measuring yourself against the only standard that truly lasts, the integrity of your own character. And in that self-possession lies a peace that no relationship status can ever provide. Your entire dating life can be reframed as a single, profound question. Are you here for the journey or only the destination? Fixating on the prize of a relationship is like a traveler who only cares about the stamp in their passport, blind to the landscapes, the people, and the self-discovery that happens along the way. The 22nd Stoic answer invites you to embrace the entire process of dating, finding the inherent value in every step, not just the final outcome. This journey is your training ground. Every person you meet, whether for 5 minutes over coffee or for 5 months in a relationship, is a teacher. The person who challenges your worldview sharpens your wisdom. The one who is painfully shy gives you a chance to practice patience and draw them out. The date that feels like a total mismatch is not a failure. It is a clear signpost showing you a path you do not need to walk again. Each interaction is a lesson in communication, in boundary setting, in understanding human nature. When you shift your focus from finding the one to becoming the one, the pressure dissolves. You are no longer on a frantic hunt, but on a deliberate path of self-cultivation. The process itself becomes rewarding. You start to appreciate the simple act of connecting with another soul, of sharing stories, of learning how another person sees the world. You collect experiences, not just phone numbers. A quiet dinner becomes an opportunity to practice the art of conversation. A walk in the park is a chance to observe how someone interacts with the world around them. The process of getting to know someone, with all its uncertainty and gradual revelation, becomes a fascinating exploration in its own right. This mindset transforms waiting from a state of anxious limbo into a period of active preparation. The space between dates is not empty time to be filled with swiping, but valuable time to invest in your own growth. You read, you build your skills, you strengthen your friendships. You are not waiting for your life to begin when you meet someone. You are living it fully right now, and any partner who joins you will be stepping into a world that is already rich and vibrant. When you fall in love with the process, every single part of your romantic search becomes meaningful. The so-called setbacks are just tougher terrain on the map, building your resilience. The quiet moments are chances for reflection. The connections that fade are simply different routes you explored. The destination may be a wonderful partnership, but the journey is where you become the person worthy of it, and that is a prize you can claim every single day. The most carefully laid romantic plans are fragile things. You choose the perfect restaurant, secure a reservation for 8, and confirm the time, only to receive a text at 7:15. Something came up, I am so sorry, can we reschedule? In that moment, the 23rd Stoic answer provides a shield for your peace, a simple mental habit known as the reserve clause. This is the practice of adding a silent, internal caveat to every single intention you set, fate permitting. You make the plan to meet for dinner, all the while holding in your mind the understanding that the world may have other ideas. This is not pessimism, it is profound realism. The reserve clause prepares you to accept the cancellation, the traffic jam, the sudden illness, or the simple change of heart, not as a personal affront or a cosmic injustice, but as a natural part of a complex and unpredictable world. You did your part, you prepared for the date with good intention. The outcome, however, was never yours to command. When you internalize this clause, your reaction to a disrupted plan transforms. Instead of fuming with frustration, you can respond with grace. Of course, you feel a flicker of disappointment that is only human, but it does not escalate into a storm of anger or self-pity. You understand that your date's car breaking down is not a reflection of their interest in you. A last-minute work emergency is not a deliberate act of disrespect. These are simply the events of life, unfolding as they will. The reserve clause allows you to roll with the punches, to adapt with a calm flexibility that leaves your inner tranquility untouched. You reschedule if it feels right, or you release the plan entirely and enjoy an unexpectedly free evening to yourself. This mental habit extends far beyond a single cancelled date. You can apply it to your entire search for a partner. You put yourself out there, you act with courage and virtue, all with the silent understanding that finding a deep connection is subject to fate's whims. This removes the desperate edge from your efforts. You are doing your best while simultaneously making peace with whatever result emerges. You are planting seeds while acknowledging that some will grow and others will not, and that the harvest is not entirely in your hand. This is the ultimate acceptance of the dichotomy of control, lived out in the small, daily actions of your romantic life. You focus on your intentions and release your grip on the outcomes, trusting that whatever happens, you have the resilience to meet it with grace. That relentless pressure to perform finally meets its match in the 24th Stoic answer. Your only real duty on a date is to be a good person. This cuts through the noise of modern romance with stunning simplicity. Your primary role is not to be charming or witty or impressively successful. It is to be virtuous, to act with kindness, honesty, and fairness from the moment you say hello until the moment you part ways. When this becomes your singular focus, the entire dynamic shifts. You are no longer an actor on a stage, desperately trying to win over an audience of one. You are simply a person of character, engaging with another person of character and seeing what unfolds. Imagine walking into a date carrying this one intention. The mental checklist vanishes. You are not scanning for opportunities to insert your most impressive story. You are not rehearsing your answers in your head. You are present, listening for the sake of listening, because that is the kind and respectful thing to do. Your duty is to be honest, not to tell them what you think they want to hear. If they ask about your life, you share it authentically, the passions and the struggles alike, without filtering for maximum appeal. This honesty is your anchor. It ensures that any connection that forms is built on the solid ground of who you actually are, not on the shaky foundation of a persona you cannot maintain. This duty extends to the way you handle the end of an evening, whether it was magical or mediocre. Your virtue guides you to be fair. If you felt a connection, you have the courage to say so clearly. If you did not, you have the kindness to express gratitude for their time without leading them on with vague promises. You treat their feelings with the same care you would hope for yourself. This is how you remain true to your character, regardless of the outcome. A successful night is not measured by a second date secured, but by the quiet knowledge that you were kind, you were honest, and you were fair. You upheld your duty, and in a world of games and ambiguity, that consistent integrity is the most compelling performance of all. This final truth is the bedrock upon which all the others stand. The only thing you truly own is your mind. Your thoughts, your judgments, and your capacity for virtue are the sole possessions that are completely and utterly yours, impossible for the outside world to steal. In the realm of dating, this principle is your ultimate liberation. Your self-worth is not an external object that can be handed to you by a match, a date, or a partner. It is an internal light that you alone cultivate and protect. A rejection letter cannot diminish it. A silent phone cannot extinguish it. A failed relationship cannot shatter it, because it was never stored inside that relationship to begin with. When you know deep in your bones that your value is an internal property, you engage with romance from a position of unshakable strength. You stop asking the world for permission to feel good about yourself. You stop seeking a relationship as a source of validation, and instead see it as a potential arena to express the wholeness you already possess. This inner citadel cannot be breached by the fluctuating opinions of others. Someone can choose not to date you, but they cannot touch the core of your character unless you hand them the keys. This is the profound empowerment Stoicism offers. You are the guardian of your own peace. Every time you feel the sting of disappointment, you have a choice. You can let it invade your mind, setting up camp with stories of inadequacy and fear. Or you can meet it at the gate, acknowledge the pain, and then use your reason to remind yourself of the truth. This feeling is temporary. Their choice is their own. My worth remains. This practice is not about building walls around your heart, but about building an unbreachable foundation beneath it. You become like a deep-rooted tree in a storm. The wind may howl and the branches may shake, but at your core you remain standing, grounded in the knowledge that your roots, your mind, are yours alone. From this place of inner ownership, you can love more freely because you are not afraid of loss. You can connect more deeply because you are not using the other person as a mirror for your own value. You can finally participate in the beautiful, chaotic dance of human connection, not as a beggar in search of a meal, but as a sovereign individual, capable of both giving and receiving love as a gift, not a need. We have traveled through 25 timeless Stoic answers to modern dating confusion, from the foundational dichotomy of control to the ultimate ownership of your own mind. This ancient philosophy offers no pickup lines or manipulative tactics, only a robust framework for navigating romance with profound wisdom, unshakable resilience, and deep inner peace. It is a call to shift your focus from the uncontrollable external world of swipes and replies to the one thing you truly command, your own character and actions. By embracing virtues like courage and justice, practicing amor fati, and finding contentment within, You stop being a leaf tossed in the storm of modern dating and become the calm, grounded eye of the hurricane. The right connections are not found through desperation, but are drawn to the magnetic force of a life well lived. Your journey does not end here, it transforms. This week, I challenge you to choose just one of these principles. Perhaps it is pausing before you judge an unanswered text, or maybe it is the courage to define your own success by your integrity, not a second date. Take that single Stoic idea into your world and put it into practice. Then, come back and share your experience in the comments below. How did it change your perspective or your interactions? Your story could be the very thing that helps another traveler on this path. And if you found this toolkit valuable, subscribe for more practical philosophy that helps you build a life of purpose and peace, one thoughtful step at a time.